So hello, and I hope you're well. And the aim of this video is to help you get the most you possibly can out of the videos that we're recording. Okay, so that's the plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two. I'm going to do a bit of chat in this one, and explain a couple of my views on how we might be able to help you. And then I'm going to do another video. The next one I'm going to do is where I'm going to pretend to be a student and take you through how, if I was a student, I would take notes on a particular video. I hope that makes sense. So now what I want you to imagine is that you're an actor. So you're an actor, right? And in the script, you're supposed to get really angry. Someone comes in the door and says to me, my name's Greg, for example, right? So someone comes in and says, hey, Greg, you're looking a bit funny today. And he says that, and I'm supposed to, in the script, I'm supposed to punch him, okay? So I need to make that as realistic as possible. I need to do my best possible job of punching him, looking angry, etc., okay? So what I say to the director is, what's my motivation? So what I'm trying to figure out is, why does Greg punch this up? What is it inside Greg? What's going on that makes him punch that other actor? And I think we can use the same idea for studying, right? So you go to the classroom and you see that I've put on a video, and you ask yourself, oh, he's just done a research methods video, or he's done a video about biological therapy, drug therapy, whatever. And you say, I've got to learn this. What's my motivation? What is going to make me learn as well as I possibly can from this video? Okay. You could be saying to yourself, so why am I doing this? In other words, obvious answer, obvious reason. Number one would be it's needed for the exams. They wouldn't tell me stuff if it wasn't going to appear on the exams. So that's an important point to remember. But sometimes that's not quite enough. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's on the course, etc. So maybe your motivation might be, actually, I need to know this so that I can pass the exam, obviously. But why am I passing the exam? Because I've got a particular goal that I've got. I want to go to a particular university, or I want to go to do a particular job. And once you've got that motivation sorted out, then that can help you. You can then think, okay, and this is all before you start, by the way, you could be thinking, okay, the reason I'm doing this, the reason I'm really getting involved with this video is because it's going to take me to that place where I can look back look forward to a time when I'm going to have passed my exams. I'm going to be looking at my result sheet, and it's all going to be saying, well done, welcome to the university of your choice, and I'm going to feel proud because I've achieved it. My parents and all my family are all delighted for me, and we're all looking forward to the next stage of my life. So that's your motivation, right? And I think you'll find, I've got to eat this now, these are so tasty. I think you'll find that by keeping that in mind, by thinking about that before you start, when you actually start watching the video, you're going to have a completely different point of view. It's not just another one. It's not just another 10 minutes of me droning on about stuff with a PowerPoint in the background. It's a way of you getting to where you want to go, which has got to be inspiring, right? Okay. So, next thing I would suggest you do, so you've sorted out your motivation. You think, this is why I'm doing it. And you remind yourself constantly, this is why I'm doing it. And then you say to yourself, okay, what he normally does on these PowerPoints, he's got a slide saying big picture. So let me have a look at the big picture slide and see what that's about. That's going to tell you what the video is about. It's going to tell you how it fits into the unit that you're studying. So if it was a drug therapy PowerPoint, the last one I did for you, for example, if it was a drug therapy one, then that's going to fit into the biological approach, and you need to understand how that therapy works, okay? So what? How's that going to help you? It's going to help you in a couple of ways, but the major way it's going to help you is that it's going to give you, it gives you something to fit your learning into. It's like a little box and say, okay, this is the box. Here's a bit of learning inside that box that I need. And that's really going to help you. The next one, and you'll remember this. You've seen countless ones of these, haven't you? So you see the big picture first, and then we have the thing that says learning focus. And what that learning focus one does, and this is also really important, and it's why it's important that you actually spend a bit of time looking at it, is that it says this is how you should be different by the end of the lesson. So you think, right, so how am I going to be different at the end of the lesson? What am I going to know that I don't know now? What am I going to be able to do at the end of the lesson that I'm not able to do now? Also very useful, because now you've got a big picture, you know where your learning fits in, and now you also know if I can do this and this, and I'm able to do this, then I will have had a successful lesson. So that's important. And then I thought just a final couple of points. I'm not gonna stretch this one out. I think it's important to keep the videos relatively short. And you probably want to think now. I'd probably pause it now. I've looked at my big picture. I've looked at my learning focus, and you think, okay, right, I'll pause the video for a minute and make sure that I've got everything I need in order to get the most out of the following 10 minutes or 15 minutes, however long the video is, right? So I would recommend that you have these things. These are the things that you need, and I might put this on a little checklist. Okay, so number one, you're gonna need some note paper, and you will say to me, okay, Haggerty, what are you talking about? We've got loads of. I've got I think I've got a Chromebook. I can do it, and all the rest of it. And what I think happens, and what's useful, is that if you've got a bit of paper beside you that you can write things down on, you can actually spell out what you're learning. So if you're doing some stuff on drug therapy, again, sticking to that example, you'll be able to make a note and think, okay, right, what am I learning? Oh yeah, he's told me that we're going to be learning about 2 different types of drugs. I'm going to write about antipsychotic drugs. I'll be doing some stuff on that. Then you might leave a little bit of space, and then say, right, and then I'm going to be dealing with antidepressant drugs. So that's important. So you've got a paper and a pen to do some writing, okay? I'd also have, and this will depend on the topic and the amount of resources that I've provided and all the rest of it, I would also have my textbook handy. So that's a bit of a crucial one. So what can happen there is that if I say something, and obviously if I'm going to be doing it in 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to be going at a fairly fast pace. And sometimes, and I'm fully aware of this, sometimes I say things that don't really make all that much sense. So what you have to do is think, what? What does he mean? Let me just check that in the book. Because the key thing is, at the end of the day, that you understand what this topic is about. And if it doesn't make sense from me, you need to think, okay, right, let me have a quick look in the book and see if I can figure out what he means. Also, on the same basis, I've got these other, the quite sort of weighty handouts that I provide, but typed up by a wonderful woman called Natalie Miniker, who's done loads of these resources. That might be handy to have that. I wouldn't necessarily print them out. I could have that on another tab. And again, you can use that for reference. So if you're not sure what's going on, that would be handy. Sometimes those handouts are designed to be filled in as you go along. That could also be a useful thing to do. Sometimes I provide a summary sheet. So that's laid out pretty much along the lines of the textbook, and you can use my video plus the textbook to summarize everything that you need to know. Okay, so I would make sure before I go past the learning focus that I've got this stuff in front of me. I've got a bit of space on my desk. Just one more bite. I've got a bit of space on my desk and I'm ready to go. Ideally, phone turned off, maybe? Is that a thing now? Can you turn them off now, or do they just... Yeah, so turn your phone on, off, or give it to someone else in another room. Separation problems, I know, but even so. Bit of music in the background if you like, preferably not with words that interfere with the learning process. But again, anything that will help you stay focused. So you've got those things. One other thing that you need that's really important, and you can choose this, is that you need a lively mind. Before you go back to that video, you need to be there thinking, what's this about? What am I doing? You've remembered what your motivation is, and now you're going to go to each slide, and you're going to be asking yourself questions about these slides and making sure that you understand what's going to be doing, and you're going to be relating those slides back to the learning focus. Oh yeah, the reason I'm looking at this slide is because the first learning focus said is that I need to understand how antipsychotic drugs work. Oh, I'm learning this bit because this is helping me evaluate antidepressant drugs. Okay, I think we'll leave it there. I hope this is useful. The key thing is, and the reason I'm doing one of these for you, is that I think you've been fantastic so far. We've been apart from each other for a long, long time, and I'm expecting to see you on the 9th of July. Okay, so that's circled in my calendar and all the rest of it. But what I want to make sure is that you get as much as you possibly can out of each of the videos that I put down, and that you actually feel that you're learning. Okay, and I can't be there to ask you questions in the same way that I would, in the same way that I really enjoy doing. Maybe you don't, but I do. So these are just a couple of tips. If you do this, and I know how hard most of you are trying on all this, if you do this, you'll be turning yourself into, a year early, 2 years early, you'll be turning yourself into university students. Because that is what you have to do. You have to be motivated, and you have to be interested, and you have to be doing your own thing. But the things that I've talked about the way you deal with the videos and the way you look at the learning focus stuff, hopefully that will help. What I'll do is I'll try and put that into practice on my next video, and if there's anything else that occurs to me, I'll make those points then, okay? So thank you very much. It was really nice talking to you, and looking forward to seeing you soon.